Okay, so we are going to start on our backs in constructive rest. So take your time to come down onto your mat, step your feet to a nice comfortable distance that works good for your body's proportions so that your knees can just sort of drop in towards each other and support each other. And then just let your arms come out in a restful position wherever works best for you. Allow just a little bit of time here to let your body settle in. But as you start to settle in, just kind of tune in and notice which parts of your body are taking the longest to settle in. There's no right or wrong, but just notice. Bring your awareness down to your toes and your feet, and maybe even give your toes and your feet a tiny little wiggle just to mush them around a little bit, and then set your feet back down on the ground. Let them be soft and heavy. Allow your ankles to be soft, calves and shins soft, so there's no efforting in the bottom part of the legs. Notice that little connection point at your knees where the knees are touching, and then maybe pause there for a moment and notice if you can sense a little tiny bit of warmth right in the space between where your knees meet. And then let your awareness come up to your thighs. Notice if you're holding any muscular tension in the thighs or if you're gripping in your thighs, can you let your thighs be soft? Hips are soft and heavy. A sense of looseness in the belly so that the breath can come in freely and we're not holding too much tension in the abdomen. And then for a moment here with your awareness in that center quadrant of your body, belly and chest, you just notice the gentle rhythm of breath there. So just notice the rise and fall of your chest or your belly, the softening with the exhale. And then allow your awareness to travel just a little further up. So maybe notice your chest, your collarbones, and your shoulders. And if you're holding any tension in the collarbones or the shoulders, can you let your shoulders just get a little heavier into the earth? Let your arms get a little heavier into the earth and let your hands be soft and heavy. Soften through the back of your neck. Soften the space between your eyes. And then in this softer position with your body, just notice if there's any parts of your body that are still calling attention and want a little extra love and care, just make sure you pay attention to those parts throughout your practice. And then before we move away from this place of stillness, just take a moment here to set an intention to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice. Never doing anything in your practice that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. Keeping the bottom half of the body in this constructive rest position and your arms just in a loose and comfortable position, we're just going to take a tiny nod of the head up and down. So it might feel very small and very subtle, especially since the back of the head is connected to the floor. But as you start to gently nod the head up and down, notice the limited range of motion, but can you also notice that point at the back of your head that's connected to the floor, connected to the mat, And then it starts to sort of tug at that connective tissue as you gently nod the head up and down. So you might feel that bit of skin and connective tissue trapped against the mat and your skull. And as you nod your head up and down, there's this nice subtle sense of movement of connective tissue as you nod your head up and down. Wonderful. Take one more nod of your head up and down. And then as your head finds that fairly neutral position, start to turn your head gently side to side. Maybe start with a small range of motion, especially if your body's not warmed up yet. And then as you start to increase that sense of warmth in the neck, maybe then you increase the range of motion. Take one more nod of the head side to side. And then as you come back to center, give everything a pause and just notice, how does your head feel? How does your neck feel? And how do your shoulders feel? And then you'll just know that when we get to the point where at the end of our practice and we come to our hare pose or to that half supported shoulder stand, if you're already feeling like things are a little tender and want some care, then you might be mindful when you come to those points of your practice. And with that being said, float your arms up into a cactus or goalpost position just to find a little opening through the chest and the armpit chest. Let the backs of your hands rest heavy on the ground, and then start to find some gentle windshield wipers with the knees. Here, start small. And then as you start to increase that warmth in the hips, then increase your range of motion. And as you do this work here, get a sense. How are your hips feeling? How is your back feeling? You might notice some movement in your feet and your ankles. So how are your feet and ankles feeling? The next time your knees drop over to the right, let them sink all the way down. Let that left knee get nice and heavy. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, bring your knees to center. And then as you exhale, drop your knees over to the left. Let them sink all the way down. Let the right knee get super heavy and take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, knees come back to center, and then we're going to toe heel the feet in just a little bit so feet are about hip width distance apart, and then slide your hands down alongside your hips and flip the palms facing down. Move right into pelvic tilt. As you exhale, press your low back into the ground. Inhale, release to the natural curve of your back. Exhale, press your low back down. Inhale to release. Exhale to press. Inhale to release. Nice. And then keep a neutral spine. We're going to pull the right knee up towards the chest with just a loose handhold, and then circle your foot. Take your foot and draw it in circles, go in one direction. Draw your foot in circles, go the other way. And then let your foot come to stillness. Take your knee, draw it in circles, go in one direction. And then take your knee, draw it in circles, go the other way. Awesome. Now we're going to take that right knee and swing it out. So think out wide towards the outer edge of your right shoulder. So we're opening the hip up just a little bit. Circle your foot in one direction. Circle your foot the other way. And then foot comes to stillness, and we're going to pass that right knee over towards the left hand. So we're going to take that right knee towards the left shoulder, just to slightly across the midline of the body. So maybe you'll feel some sensation in the IT band or down into the glute side of the glutes or into the medial part of the glute. So just take a moment to notice, take one good breath. And then when you're ready, release that leg, set it back down, and then come over to the other side. Pull the left knee into your chest with a loose handhold. Circle your foot in one direction. And then circle your foot the other way. Nice. And then foot comes to stillness. Take your knee, draw it in circles, go in one direction. Take your knee, draw it in circles, go the other way. Beautiful. And then take that left knee out nice and wide, so out towards the left shoulder. So we open the hip up just a little bit. Circle your foot in one direction. Awesome. And then circle your foot the other way. Nice. And then foot comes to stillness. We're going to pass that right knee over, pass the left knee over towards the right hand, slightly across the midline. So you're hugging it towards the shoulder, and then just tune in for a moment and notice the IT band down into the glutes, and just notice where on this side you might feel a little sensation. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, release, pull that right knee into your chest and both knees into the chest, give a light little hug and a gentle rock side to side. From here, we're going to rock and roll up to a seated ragdoll, but then we'll work our way into a cross-leg position. We're going to do a minute of Kapalabhati breath, but if you don't like a cross-leg position, then you'll just choose whatever version of a seat works good for you. So rock and roll your way up, find your seated ragdoll. So knees super bent, bit of space for the belly and the chest. Lift the belly, lift the chest, and then just fold yourself over. Catch hold of your toes. Soften through the back of your neck. Notice the back of your shoulder blades, that space behind you where your ribs are, and then see if you can just tune in and feel your breath in the back of your body. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, just start to walk yourself up. We're going to keep this sort of bent knee position. We're going to catch hold of the right thigh. We're going to get a firm grab of the muscle of the right thigh. And then you're just going to start to twist and turn. So your hands are going to do the manipulating. You're going to try to keep the muscles of the thigh soft so that as you take the muscle, just twisting and turn it. So like you're just kind of wringing out your muscle on the bone. So we're just going to twist and turn it up towards the knee and then down towards the hips. Just kind of moving that leg muscle in directions that we don't get to in our yoga poses. Take one more little twist and turn of that leg, and then we're going to take it right over to the other side. Catch hold of that left thigh, get a good firm grab of that muscle, and then we're just pulling the muscle gently, twisting down towards the hip and then up towards the knee. Nice. One more little twist up and down, and then find your way to a seated position that works good for you. Sukhasana if you like, legs crossed, but any other position that works good so that you can find a nice upright spine. And we're going to practice our 1 minute of Kapalabhati breath, or that nice skull shining breath, or fire breathing. So if you like, first things first, just find your solar plexus, place your hand there, and just find that sharp exhale. So we're just going to give a nice good breath out. And just feel that little pump that comes in at the diaphragm as you do that nice sharp exhale. Take it, inhale, just let the breath come in, and then you'll sharp exhale and just find that pump. And then it's going to be 1 minute of breath. You'll go at your pace. If you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, take a slow, mindful pace and just focus on that sharp exhale. But if all things good and no high blood pressure, no low blood pressure, then you just take it at a nice rapid pace that works good for you. It does create a little heat in the body. All right, so I've got that timer set and you find that rhythm of breath that works good for you. Take a moment to let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. Maybe even close your eyes down. Just let your body re-regulate. Take a generous inhale. Let your shoulders be soft on your exhale. Maybe take a moment just to tune in and notice. Notice if you've created a little bit of warmth or heat in your body. One more breath here just to tune in and make sure everything's feeling good. And then if it's all feeling good, move right into some movement in the head and the neck. As you inhale, lift your chin up to the sky. And as you exhale, tuck your chin down to your chest. Inhale and lift your chin up. Exhale to tuck your chin down. One more just like that. Inhale, lift your chin up. Exhale, tuck your chin down, move right into your seated cat-cow. Inhale, lift your chin, lift your chest, arch your back. Exhale, round your back, round your shoulders, tuck chin to chest. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. One more cycle of breath here. And then as you inhale to a nice neutral spine, right hand's going to touch down to the ground, left hand reaches up alongside your ear. Take 3 fluid side bends. So take your time. And on the last one, sink a little deeper into that side bend. Hold there. Think about drawing that top thumb back. Gaze up towards the ceiling if that feels available. Take a nice big breath. And then just one time, we're going to take that top hand round and reach forward, like you're reaching for something that's about at the corner of the room. So just reaching across, and maybe you feel a little sensation all the way down to that low back side body. Take one more moment and then lift that hand back up, and we're going to take it right over to the other side. So left hand's going to touch down, right hand's going to reach up. 3 gentle side bends, or 2 gentle side bends that take us into that third. And then as you find that side bend, hang out there. Draw the top thumb back, maybe turn your head, look up towards the sky. Nice, and then if it feels good, take that top hand round and reach forward, like you're reaching for something across the room. Maybe notice down the side body and right to where that hip meets the low back side body. And then when you're ready, pull that hand back up, and now we're gonna swim both hands behind the back. So nice tall fingers, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your chin, take a nice big breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, release your hands in front of you, and we're going to flip our way up into a tabletop position. So you come up onto all fours in any way that works good for you. And then again, if you have tender knees, you might choose to double stack your mat or put a little cushion under your knees. So get yourself set up in your tabletop so it's a really comfortable position. And then take a moment to find that strength in your tabletop. So firm up your belly, broaden your shoulders, gazes down between the thumbs, and then hang out in this nice sturdy structure. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Awesome. Slide your right foot back, toes curled under, and take a few gentle rocks forward and back, just to bring a little length in the back of the leg and wake up that heel in the bottom of your foot. Nice. One more rock forward and back, and then slide that leg in, switch to the other side. Left leg back, toes curled under, rock yourself forward and back. Beautiful. One more rock forward and back, and then slide that leg in, and we'll take it right into puppy pose. So hips stay in line with the knees, hands walk to the front edge of the mat. Make as much space for your shoulders as feels appropriate to you, and then let your chest soften down. Let your forehead soften down. Take 3 nice big breaths here. When you're ready, slowly and mindfully start to walk yourself back up into that tabletop position. And then we're going to circle the ribs. So we're going to drop the belly down, pull the ribs over to the right, round up and over, take it to the left, and then drop it down. And then take 2 more times around in that direction, just kind of smoothing those circles out. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, take it over in the other direction, over to the left, round up and back, over to the right, drop the belly down, and then 2 more times around and just smooth those circles out. Beautiful. And then as you come back to a neutral spine, big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat, take it back to extended child's pose, pull your butt back to your heels, belly, chest, and forehead soften down. And then if it's available, elbows on the ground, prayer hands together. We're going to take those prayer hands to the back of the head. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, release your prayer hands from behind the head if they're there. Start to gently lift your way back up to your tabletop, walk your knees in. And then once you're in that tabletop position, both sets of toes curl under, pull your butt back to your heels, hang out here for just one good breath, just noticing your toes and the bottoms of your feet. And then when you feel ready, peel your knees up, lift your butt up and find your way into that downward facing dog, and then start to pedal out the legs. Bend one knee and press into the opposite heel. Beautiful. One more pedal of each leg. And then when you're ready, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a folded ragdoll at the top of the mat. So feet about hip or shoulder distance apart. Make some space for yourself here. Let everything hang nice and soft and heavy. Soften the back of your neck. And then just take a moment here to tune back into your feet connected to the floor. Notice the bottoms of your feet, notice your toes. And if you can, lift your toes and spread your toes as wide as you can, and then reset the toes down in a nice wide configuration. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, strong from your navel center, come up nice and slow and controlled, come up to a standing position. And then as you come up, just give yourself a second, get yourself situated at the top of your mat. A lot of our work today is going to happen in mountain pose or Tadasana. So we're just going to do a little exploration each time we come to the top of our mat. So start by just coming into your mountain pose, the mountain pose that you generally tend to come to. Take a minute to find that without any cueing, just the mountain pose that you know. Gaze forward, reach up through the crown of your head, take one good breath. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. And now we're going to look down at our feet and we're going to see if we can step our feet in together. Now, this is not normally the typical way that I cue mountain pose, but we're just going to play around a little bit. So step your feet in so that the big toes touch, but the heels are slightly apart. And then we want to just kind of take a look at our feet. Lift your toes, spread your toes as wide as you can. Let your toes float down to the ground. And then with the big toes together, but the heels slightly apart, we're going to imagine that we're wrapping the heels in towards each other. So the heels are going to stay in that apart position, but almost like you're just trying to drag the bottoms of the heels inward towards each other and let that wrap up through the back of the body, lift up through the crown of your head. Pause here for a moment, notice. And if you're locked too deep into your knees, let your knees be slightly soft and then lift up from the thighs. So rather than locking into the knees and pushing the kneecaps back, find this upward lifting position of the thighs and let that upward lift come all the way up to the top of your head. Take a nice big inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, look to the sky. Exhale, we're going to bend the knees a lot, hinge from the waist, fold down towards the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine, bend your knees, push into your feet, inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides, and then just take a moment to evaluate how did your feet feel on the floor, especially with that closer position of the feet. And now we're going to wiggle out the toes, step your feet to about hip width distance apart. So a slightly wider stance, but now we're going to imagine that the big toes are together and there's a space between the heels. And so a better way to say that is to look at the blade edges of your feet, and you want the blade edges of your feet to be parallel with your mat or the outer edges of your mat. So if you can look at your feet, line up the blade edges so the blade edges are parallel with your mat, and then come back to that sensation again. Imagine you're wrapping your heels inward towards each other. Get that hugging up sensation through the back of the body. Reach up through the crown of your head. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides, and now we'll take it into a gentle fold. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Awesome. Take a second to just kind of wiggle out your knees, wiggle out your toes. And then just our last little moment of play here with our mountain pose, we're going to turn the toes out slightly. So imagine that you're pointing your toes to the corners of your mat. This is never the way that mountain pose is generally done, but we have variations in our body. So this might be the way that you like to stand. So just take a moment to feel your feet connected to the ground, lift up through the top of your head. Heels hug in towards each other. Notice that difference there. When you hug the heels in towards each other, it almost pulls in a little bit more and squeezes in that lower glute area. So notice that wrapping up sensation with the toes turned out. Reach up through the crown of your head. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold down towards the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. And now take a moment to come to the mountain pose that you like the best. Maybe it's the original one that is your mountain pose. Maybe you liked the big toes together with the heels slightly apart in that closer stance, or maybe you liked the blade edges of your feet kind of lined up in that parallel position, or any other variation. If you find something that works really great for your feet and for your hips, take a moment to find that, and then find that nice upward lifting sensation through the crown of your head. Beautiful. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step the right leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel down, turn the toes out. Right hand is going to pick you up. Take a second to just sink into that shape. So rearrange your feet as needed. We want to make sure our weight is evenly distributed between both legs. And then when you feel ready, reach both arms out, but then find that upward lifting. Lift up from the soles of your feet, up your legs, up the side body, out through your fingertips, gaze forward, take a nice big breath. Beautiful. We're going to cartwheel the hands down to the ground, pivot the back heel so we come through runner's lunge, but then right away, plant your palms, step back to plank, lower your knees, lower gently down onto your belly. Once you're here, bend both knees, swish your heels a little side to side. One more swish of the heels side to side, and then float your toes back down to the ground. 3 low cobras here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Push your way through a tabletop all the way back to child's pose. Big toes together, knees together. Pull your butt back to your heels, a little reach through the arms, and then notice how this position feels. So later on, when we get to that hare pose, we'll just know if your knees need a little extra love, if your arms need a little extra love, if anything else is going on here and this feels like it's not the best place for you to be, you'll just notice. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, lift up into that tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale up to downward facing dog, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. As you come to that forward fold at the top of your mat, notice your feet, notice how they naturally were arranged. Bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to standing position, roll your shoulders around, down, and back. Reset your feet if you need to. Lift the toes, spread the toes, line up the blade edges of your feet, hug the heels in towards each other or big toes together, heels slightly apart. So find that variation with the feet that feels really nice. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees, hinge from your waist. Beautiful. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, left leg back, warrior two to the other side. Drop the back heel down, turn the toes out. Left hand is going to pick you up. And then take a second to just find that nice even position. So ribs in line with the hips, legs nice and evenly weighted. Arms reach out to shoulder height, and then find that lifting up from the ground. So lift from the soles of the feet. Energy lifts up the legs, up the side body, out through the fingertips. Gaze forward, take a nice big breath. Wonderful. When you're ready, cartwheel your hands down to the ground, pivot that back heel, but then right away, step the front foot back to plank, lower your knees, lower gently down onto your belly, bend your knees, swish your heels side to side. One more swish side to side, and then drop your toes down to the ground. 3 low cobras here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Push your way through tabletop, back to your child's pose. Big toes together, knees together. Butt comes back to the heels. Arms reach out nice and long. Take one good breath. Inhale, come forward to table. Exhale, take it up to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk your feet to meet your hands. Come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Take a moment to notice your feet on the ground, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to a standing position, roll your shoulders around, down and back. And then take a second, reset your feet. We're gonna line up the blade edges with the outer edges of your mat. Hug your heels in towards each other. Lift your toes, spread your toes as wide as you can, and then reset your toes down in that nice wide configuration. Awesome. And then see if you can find that little bit of Pada Bandha, pulling the big toe back towards the heel so we get that lift through the sole of the feet. Can you lift that energy all the way up through the crown of your head? Shoulders soften down, and then take a moment to pay attention to your hands. So if your palms are facing forward, reach a little energy down through the fingertips. Notice how your shoulders feel. And then we're going to flip the palms facing inward, but we're still going to keep that energetic reach through the fingertips. So palms now facing in towards the thighs, still lifting that energy up through the soles of the feet, up through the crown of the head. Notice how your shoulders feel here, and then reset in the variation that you like, either palms facing forward, palms facing in, totally up to you. Take a moment to come back to your breath. Awesome. When you're ready, inhale, arms up, prayer hands meet at the top of your head. And then we're going to take the thumbs to the back of the head, bend your knees, and we're going to keep those prayer hands together. Fold your hands down the center line, touch down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften all the way down, step both feet back to downward facing dog. Take a pedal or two of each leg. And then when you're ready, right leg is going to come up nice and high, three-legged dog. One good breath. Beautiful. Release that leg down, take it to the other side. Left leg is going to reach up nice and high, three-legged dog. Lovely. Set that foot down, bend both knees, pick up your heels, come into your tabletop position, pull your butt back to your heels. We're going to slide the hands back, touch the soles of the feet. Let your back body round. Let the back of your neck round. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Lift your head up, slide your hands forward. We're going to come all the way down onto the belly. So lift your butt away from your heels, step your feet to the back end of your mat, maybe pause in that plank position, and then release your knees down, lower with control onto your belly. Hands are going to come off the outer edges of your mat. We're going to take it into drunken serpent. So nice tall cupcake hands. Inhale, lift your heart up nice and high. Exhale to lower down. Beautiful. Right shoulder up and back. Inhale, lift your right shoulder and look over. Exhale to lower down. Take it to the left. Inhale, lift and look over. Exhale to lower down. Back to center. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Slide your hands in. Curl your toes under. Either push your way up to a table or power up to a plank. Find your way up to downward facing dog. Look forward. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center. Hands down at your sides. Inhale, arms up, palms meet, thumbs to the back of the head. Bend your knees, fold your hands down the center line. Hands touch the ground, then we inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step the right leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel down, turn the toes out, right hand picks you up. Awesome. Make sure everything feels good and evenly positioned. Ribs in line with the hips, energy out through the fingertips. Take one good breath here, gaze forward, and we're going to take it into a side angle. So we're going to take the left elbow down to the knee, but we're going to keep the ribs lifting away from the thigh. So we stay engaged in the side body. Top hand reaches up alongside your ear. Roll the pinky finger down just slightly and then tune in. Notice your right foot, the blade edge of your right foot, and can you lift the sole of your right foot? Draw that line of energy all the way up to your pinky finger. Nice. Take one good breath and then lift it back up. Take a little peaceful warrior. Drop the back hand, reach the front hand up. And then we'll cartwheel those hands down to the ground. Pivot your back heel. Beautiful. Plant the palms, step back to plank. Lower your knees, rotate the eyes of your elbows, lower with control onto your belly. One cobra here, just as high as you like. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower down. Either push your way up to a table or power up to a plank. Find your downward facing dog. Right leg up into three-legged dog, and then if it feels good, bend the knee, let the hip roll open, take one good breath. Beautiful. Step that foot up to the top of your mat or just as far as it will go. Help it along the rest of the way. And then step that back foot up to meet. Find your forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Reset your mountain pose. Wrap your heels in towards each other. Reach up through the crown of your head. Readjust your hands as you like best. Take one good breath. Inhale, arms up, hands meet, thumbs to the back of the head. Bend your knees, fold it down to the ground. Hands come through that center line. Once those hands touch the ground, inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step the left leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel down, turn the toes out. Left hand picks you up. Once you're here, just get a second, get yourself rearranged. Find that even distribution of weight, arms straight out from the shoulders. Gaze forward, take a nice big breath. Beautiful. Into that side angle, right elbow to the knee, the ribs lift away from the thigh, top hand reaches up alongside the ear, and then we roll the pinky finger down just slightly. Tune into your left foot. Can you pick up the sole of the left foot and then draw that line of energy all the way up to the left pinky finger? Strong legs, strong side body, lift it up into peaceful warrior. Drop the back hand, reach the front hand up. Nice, and then cartwheel the hands down to the ground, pivot that back heel, plant your palms, step back to plank. Right away, bring the knees down, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug elbows into ribs, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra, just as high as you like. Exhale to lower down, either push your way up to table or power up to a plank, and then find your downward facing dog. Left leg up into three-legged dog. Bend that knee, let the hip roll open, take one good breath. Beautiful, and then step that left foot up to the top of your mat. Bring the right foot up to meet. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Reset your mountain pose. Take a second to find that really nice, strong sensation down into your feet, lifting up through the crown of your head. When you're ready, inhale, arms up, hands meet, thumbs to the back of the head. Bend your knees slightly, fold down your center line. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, right leg back, warrior two. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out, right hand is gonna pick you up. Wonderful, take it right into your side angle. Right, left elbow to the right, to the knee, reach your right hand up, roll the pinky finger down, maybe even look down at the floor, take one good breath, and then lift up into your peaceful warrior. Take that right hand to the back side, lift that left hand up, look to the sky, float back to your warrior two, but now we're gonna straighten the front leg, and now we're gonna turn both toes to the outside of the mat. So we're gonna rearrange this nice little wide position. Now we're going to turn the toes in slightly. So you want to get like a semi-pigeon-toed situation. Notice how that feels. Notice your knees. Make sure your knees feel already comfortable. If your knees are not feeling comfortable, readjust your feet to where your knees feel good. But then once you're there, hands to the hips, keep that slight pigeon toe if that is comfortable for your knees. A slight micro bend in the knees. Lean your heart forward. Notice your knees, notice your hips. And then if it feels available, hands are going to reach down to the ground. Nice, and then soften through the back of the body. Let your crown of your head melt down. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful, and then from here, hands are gonna find the hips again. Reach through the crown of your head. Nice, strong through the back, strong through the backs of your legs. Come all the way back up. Right toes are gonna turn in, left toes are gonna turn out. Bend your way back into that warrior two position, and then cartwheel your hands down to the ground. Pivot your back feet so you come through your runner's lunge. Lovely, plant the palms, step back to plank. Bring your knees down, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug your elbows into your ribs, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra, exhale up to down dog or through a table to down dog. Right leg up into three-legged dog, one good breath. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open. Beautiful, and then step that foot through to the top of your mat, a little runner's lunge, and then take that left foot, step it up to meet, find your forward fold. See if you can line up the blade edges of your feet with the outer edges of your mat. Hug your heels in towards each other, nice and strong through the back of the body. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. Lift your toes, spread your toes. Reset your toes down on the ground in that nice wide spread. Inhale, arms up, hands meet, thumbs to the back of the head. Exhale and fold, hands down the center line. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step the left leg back, warrior two to the other side. Drop the back heel, turn the toes out, left hand picks you up. Into your side angle, right elbow to the knee, left hand reaches up, roll the pinky finger down, maybe look down, take a nice big breath. Lift right up into your peaceful warrior. Left hand touches that back thigh, right hand reaches up. Lift through your warrior two, straighten the front leg, and now both toes are going to pivot to the left side of the mat. Take a second to rearrange, and then we're going to come back to that little bit of a pigeon toe situation. So toes are going to turn in slightly, or if it makes more sense to you, the blade edges of your feet are going to try to be parallel to the front and back of your mat. So take a second to kind of look at your feet, make sure it feels like a good, comfortable position. Your knees feel good, your hips feel good. Once you feel like you're there, your feet are lined up in a nice way, hands to the hips, a little micro bend to the knee, hinge forward, come to that halfway point. If you get here and there's any not good sensation in the knees or the hips, readjust anything that you need. But if it all feels good, float your hands down to the ground, straighten your legs as much as feels comfortable. And then if it's available, walk your hands through your legs, reach past your heels, let your head soften down. One more breath. When you're ready, walk your hands forward, bend your knees a little bit, hands to the hips, nice strong through the back of the legs, through the back of the body, lift up nice and slow and controlled, turn your right toes out, bend that front knee, float through your warrior two, cartwheel your hands down to the ground, pivot that back heel. Beautiful, plant your palms, step back to plank. Lower your knees, rotate the eyes of your elbows, hug your elbows into your ribs, lower with control. Inhale up to cobra. Exhale to lower down, or I should say exhale up to down dog. And then take that left leg up nice and high, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the hip roll open, take one good breath. Beautiful, step that left foot up to the top of your mat. And then bring your right foot up to meet, find your forward fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, press firm into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Hands to heart center, hands down at your side. So as we start to find our way down to the mat real quick, we're just going to check in and find the crown of our head. So use your fingertips and locate the crown of your head. You put a little push into the top of your head, maybe even smush it around just a little bit. Notice where the crown of your head is. Let your hands come down at your sides. Reset your mountain pose. Find that nice, good, comfortable position. Really root into the feet. Reach up through that spot, that crown of your head. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to soften down. Step both feet back to down dog. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, come into a tabletop position. Beautiful. Release your toes, big toes together, knees walk in towards each other. Pull your butt back to your heels and then slide your hands back. See if you can find the soles of your feet. Now, as we come into that hare pose, if you do have anything going on with the head or the neck, then you might choose to just stay right at the tip of your forehead. And also, if you want to use your block, this is a nice place where if just bringing the floor up to meet the crown of the head is available, so you might choose to roll up, find the crown of your head on the block, and that might be a nicer middle ground if the floor seems a little too far away. So take a second to find that little child's pose with your hands on your feet, and then when you're ready, first start by letting your forehead find the floor. This might be your stopping point. This might feel good. My arms are short, so sometimes they slide away from the heels, but you're just going to try to keep your hands connected to that lower part of your body. Roll up onto the crown of your head as much as you can. Take a moment to notice, make sure your head and your neck feel comfortable and you're breathing comfortably here. Take one more breath. Slow and mindful, start to float your butt back to your heels. Lift your head away from the floor, slide your hands forward, lift yourself up into a tabletop position. Nice, and then either crisscross your legs behind you or swing your legs out to one side, but we're gonna flip around so we're sitting back on our butts. Beautiful. And then here's the place. If your head and neck need that little extra bit of cushion, I recommend just placing a little blanket right towards the top end of your mat, so everything will feel really nice and protected. I have a double mat, so I'm okay. Slowly and mindfully, just start to roll your way down to the ground and then pause for a second here. Wriggle into your spine, wiggle out your bum, wiggle out your shoulders. Just make sure your back feels nice on the floor. Give a second, especially if you're setting up your blanket, make sure it feels comfortable. If you've got the blanket underneath your shoulders and underneath your neck, if you're feeling like there's any little wrinkly places or little bumps or anything that needs a little smoothing out, take a second to do that. We'll start by just gently pulling the knees up to the chest. Give a light little squeeze, maybe a gentle rock side to side. If you're unsure of what half shoulder stand looks like and you need to see it first, I would prefer you see it and then try to do it, but we want to keep our head looking up towards the ceiling. So once we get into that position, we don't want to try and turn our head. So if you're unsure of where you're going, I'll just give a quick demo. So we're just going to hoist the butt up, place those hands under the low back, and then the knees are going to drop in towards the forehead. So you take that position, just make sure that you're keeping your head forward up towards the ceiling. So take a second. Rock and roll your butt, lift the hips up, place your hands at that low back position. And then if that feels like a good place to be, you can let the knees drop in toward your forehead. Take a moment, take a breath, make sure you're breathing comfortably here. And then just to be a little bit playful, left knee is going to stay down towards the forehead. We're going to lift the right knee up just slightly. Bring the right knee back down. Right knee is going to stay towards the forehead. Left leg is going to lift up just slightly. Lower the left leg back down. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, hands are going to release from the low back with control. Roll your way down to the ground. Set your feet down and then pause for a moment. Just take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. One more breath. And then from here, we're going to move into a figure four. So if you need to rearrange anything, if anything got set up and you want it out of the way now, take a second to just scoot your stuff out of the way. And then we're going to take the right leg across the left, find your figure four, right hand to the inner thigh, gently push that inner thigh open, take a nice deep breath. Awesome. And then this might be enough. You might choose to stay here. This might be plenty of good sensation for you. But if it feels good and you want to just go a little bit further with it, pick the left leg up, thread your hands through, grab the back of the thigh or the top of the shin, and then start to draw it into a comfort level. So you want to feel a little sensation in your glutes, the outer edge of your hip, but make sure you're breathing comfortably and your knee feels happy. Take one more breath. And then we're going to keep that figure four shape, but loosen up your hold just a little bit so that you can wobble your figure four a little side to side. Nice. One more little wobble side to side, and then release your handhold. Keep that figure four shape. We're going to let the left foot touch down to the ground, and then we're going to drop the right foot over to the left. So we're going to bring a little twist into our figure four. Drop that right foot over to the left. Keep your right shoulder down on the ground. And then if it feels good, left hand's going to find the right inner thigh, and you'll gently push into the inner thigh only if that feels like a good sensation. You might feel that little quadricep muscle that comes right up towards that hip crease. So take a moment to notice where in your body you feel sensation. Beautiful. And then if that hand was on the inner thigh, go ahead and release it. Pull those legs back to center. Step your right foot off. Pause for a moment and notice. And then when you're ready, left leg across the right, set your figure four up to the other side. Left hand to that inner thigh, gently push the knee open. Take a moment to notice. So this might be enough. You might choose to stay here, but if it feels good, you're going to lift the right leg up, thread your hands through, find the back of the thigh or the top of the shin, draw it into a level that feels comfortable, that you can breathe comfortably in, but you're getting a nice bit of sensation, maybe down into that left hip, into the glute, and maybe even into the hip crease. Take one more breath. And then loosen up your handhold just a little bit so that you can wobble your figure four a little side to side. One more little wobble side to side. And then we're going to release our handhold from that right leg. Set your right foot down, but keep the left leg across the right. Now we're going to take that left foot over to the right. So the foot's going to drop down. So there's a little twist in our figure four. Try to keep that left shoulder connected to the ground. And then if it feels good, right hand to the left inner thigh, gently push that knee open. Take one more breath. If your hand is on that inner thigh, go ahead and release it. Float those legs back to center. Step your left foot off the right. Pause for a moment to notice. And then we're going to take the right knee into the chest. Left leg is going to go nice and long. We're going to take a quick supine twist. So we're not going to stay there for those 3 breaths. We're just going to take the right knee over and across the body to the left. Right arm opens out wide. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Pull the right knee back in towards the chest. One light little squeeze, and then we're going to switch our handhold. Hold on to the back of the back of the thigh, and take 3 good kicks of that leg up and down. Nice. And then bend that knee, set it down. We're going to switch to the other side. So left knee is going to pull into the chest. Right leg is going to go nice and long. Take that left knee over and across the body. One breath for that supine twist. Left arm opens out nice and wide. Head turns to the left. Take a nice big inhale. Slow exhale. On your next inhale, pull that left knee back into your chest and then re-grab the back of the thigh and take 3 good kicks of that leg up and down. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, bend that knee, set it down. We're going to slide the right leg into meet. So both knees in a bent position, toe heel your feet slightly wide, and then come back to your windshield wipers, just dropping the knees gently side to side. If it feels good to do so, maybe bring your arms into cactus or goalpost and maybe add your head turn as well. Beautiful. One more drop of the knees side to side, and then pause in constructive rest. Let your knees drop in towards each other. Let your hands find a comfortable position. Check in for a moment. Notice how your body feels. If you're in a cold space, maybe take a minute to put socks on or a sweater or get your blanket so that you can find a cozy shavasana. And then once you know where you're going, start to find your way into the version of Shavasana that works good for you. So maybe legs are extended long, maybe you stay in constructive rest, maybe you take it into a reclined cobbler's pose. If you do reclined cobbler's pose today, I would definitely suggest that we tuck a little blanket or pillows around the outsides of the thighs. So it's a supported reclined cobbler's pose. Beautiful. And then once you've got yourself into a position that feels like it'll be restful, take a second to just find a little softness. Work out all your little wiggles. Invite a soft sense of heaviness into your arms and your legs. A soft sense of heaviness in the chest and the shoulders, and then invite some softness into your belly. So if you're holding tension around your abdomen, around your belly button, see if you can let all of that go. Start to bring your awareness back into your body. Invite some gentle movement into your fingers, some gentle movement into your toes. If it feels good to do so, maybe rock your head a little side to side. And then start to reawaken at the bigger parts of your limbs. So maybe move your wrists, move your ankles, bring some gentle movement into your knees or your thighs. If you've got blankets or props of any sort, maybe just take a second to kind of scooch them out of the way. And then if it feels really good, take a big good morning stretch like a yawn. Stretch through your fingers, stretch through your toes, take a nice big breath back into your body. And then in your own way, start to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So maybe you come up to Sukhasana with legs crossed or any other seat that works good for your body. Awesome. And then as you come up to that comfortable seated position, we're going to stack hands right on top of the heart. Gentle pressure on the heart. As you inhale, lift your chin up to the sky. Just notice that little connective movement underneath your hands. Exhale, tuck your chin down to your chest. Inhale and lift your chin up. Exhale, tuck your chin down. One more time, inhale, lift your chin up. Exhale, tuck your chin down, stay here with that slight tuck of the chin, soften your shoulders down, relax your hands just a little bit, and we're gonna take one humming exhale. So take a nice, generous inhale. And as you exhale, just let out a nice low hum. Once you've completed your exhale, just allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for the time that you take to take care of yourself. And breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And then when you feel ready, gently lift up to the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Tuesday.